Okay, so I wanted to give you an update with regards to what happened to my engine. It's a very rare and very badly designed problem. You can see that there's a lot of steam coming off the exhaust strap, so I've clearly had it started since we spoke about the engine being seized. You know, she's purring lovely now. Fully running. So I'll knock it off so you can hear me talking now, but I'm going to explain what the problem was, and it was quite an unbelievable one. I know I've already explained my suspicions in a previous video, but what happened was the engine seized, and it wasn't whilst I was driving, fortunately, but the engine had been sat for about a week, and it was a little bit strange. I went to start the car, had a lot of clicking to check the battery. I had gone to the effort of putting a new starter motor. You can just see how shiny the solenoid is from there. I was very convinced that it was the starter motor, as I didn't think for 1 minute that the engine would just seize from sitting there for a week. But at that point in time, I wasn't aware that the engine was full of water either. So changed the starter, still had the same problem clicking. I put it into 5th gear, tried to rock the car and move it, and it was solid, jammed solid. So that led me to believe that the engine was seized. I put a bar on the crank to try and turn the engine over by hand, and it was just not going anywhere. So long story short, I took out the spark plugs and I put probably about 50 ml of diesel in each cylinder. I had inspected it with an endoscope. I was lucky that I've got an endoscope, so I could see there was slight rust remnants around the edges of the pistons. Fortunately, again, cylinders are not scored. I think I've been very lucky to catch this before it got any worse. So as you could see with my drain plug, when I took it out, there was a lot of water in the engine, and I just feared the worst. But we have unseized the engine, refilled it with fresh oil, new filter, and we have got it started. Fortunately, it was a little bit of fiddling, but we got there. Long story short, so when this car is sat, just parked up, the previous owner had it indoors, which is what I'm now going to start doing. These vents, you can see they're curving upwards. So they don't really serve much of a purpose, because as the wind is rushing over the top of the bonnet, it's not actually doing much of the cooling that they should be. So the worst part is this particular vent in question. The water, we've had a lot of rain recently in Wales. The water was rolling down straight in through the vents, straight in through the top of the carburetor. I don't have it like this normally. This is just where I've been working on it. But if you take a look here, this is the filter that the previous owner had made for the car. They've actually made it quite well. There's a good frame on it. Bit of sponge on the back, just hooks in at the front there, and then it clips in at the back there. So this was sat, you can see the outline right there. So a couple of times I opened the bonnet, and I'd lift this and water would be dripping out, and that was the first sort of idea I had, that there was water getting in. But at this point, I hadn't really thought that it was any more than a couple of drips that would just burn off. I hadn't realised it was literally pouring in, because the amount of water that came out the bottom of this engine was unbelievable. But yeah, it's extremely rare. It's not something I've ever come across in my motor mechanic lifetime, which is why I wanted to make sure I shared this with you, because as much as I could have jumped the gun and thought, right, it's the coolant, the head gasket's gone, there's coolant getting into the cylinders. I checked, this is one of the first things I checked when I realised there was water in the oil. This level is exactly where I left it when I bought the car and I topped it up. So I know that there was no fluid getting through the head gasket, so I eliminated that one quite quickly. That's where it became a bit of a mystery, and it was really starting to confuse me. But having done the investigation, as I said, and I could see how it perfectly lines up with that bloody vent up there, that led me to believe that the water was getting directly through the carb and down the inlet manifold and into the cylinders and seeping through into the oil. So I've been very lucky in this case, and this is why I wanted to share it with you, to ensure that if anybody else has the weirdest reason, but they own a kit car like this with the vents on the bonnet, then there's a very good chance that that is exactly why the water got in your engine in the first place. And I'm glad I realised, because if it was the worst case where the engine had to come out and be rebuilt, I could have put it back in, having spent a lot of money and time doing it, to find exactly the same problem reoccurring not long down the line. So I hope this video has helped. I hope this explains a lot if you are having similar issues. Good luck with your motoring. Please subscribe to my channel. I am going to be posting a lot more coming into the future, because these clocks, if I can just shade the sunlight, these clocks I can't stand. So I have bought GPS. There's going to be 3 large clocks behind here, and then I've got the 3 smaller clocks for the oil gauge and the fuel gauge, etc. for the center console. I'll be making a couple of other alterations. The choke probably won't move, it'll stay much the same, but I'll be redesigning this dashboard. But I'll show you from scratch. I'm going to be doing it from the board to the thin foam lining and the covering, and how to attach it and cut the holes, etc, etc, for those who don't know already. And you can see that the rust line that I've got across here, I'm going to be taking the screen off, stripping that back, just really tidying the car up. I've made very small alterations to it to date, but now that I've got it back up and running, I'm going to be starting to go heavy into the modifications. Hope you liked the video, and please like to show me that. Post any comments if you've had a similar situation which has caused you grief over a period of time, and hopefully you got to the bottom of it sooner rather than later. Just a little reminder to subscribe, as it'll really help me to grow this channel. Thanks very much for watching, guys.